Good morning friends, how are you? So the last session, this is for class 10th. The chapter is life processes. I think I hope you are studying all these things. In the previous class we were dealing regarding the autotrophic mode of nutrition. So autotrophic mode of nutrition, you know very well that it is the organism which prepare their own food. In today's class, we are dealing with organisms which depend on external sources for food. That means they cannot make it the food on their own. So they are called as heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So today's session we are dealing the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So dear children, I told you the heterotrophic means that depend on external sources. They depend on external sources for food. So in today's class we will take two examples. One, let us take the primitive organism and unicellular organisms belong to phylum Protozoa, that is the amoeba. Well, amoeba, as you know that it is a unicellular organism. This is a unicellular organism. It is S1, and these finger-like projections, they are called as pseudopodia. It is called as pseudopodia, right? These are called pseudopodia, the finger-like projections. So this is usually lives in the aquatic systems. Now how this is going to take the food? How this is going to acquire the food? That is what we are going to study. So this is the first thing. They are moving. The organism is present here, and here we are finding a food source is there. Let us imagine this is a cyanobacteria. A cyanobacteria is there. What is a cyanobacteria? It is also called a blue-green algae. So cyanobacteria is there. Now this amoeba has recognized that food. Now how that food particle enters into this organisms. So please draw, as I am doing that, please draw in your notebook also. Now this organism, you see here, it is come very close, so the particle is here. Is it clear? Now the particle is here. The next phase what you will do is, very interestingly, that the particle has come here. Both the pseudopodia, they have closed, and both these things, the cell membrane of the pseudopodia will fuse. Once they fuse here, see the next diagram, very interestingly. Okay, they come like this. And the organism is inside. Organism is inside. Now it is being trapped. It is trapped here. This part is getting detached, and the whole thing is present inside. Yet the food is, they acquire the food. The process by which they acquire the food is called as endocytosis. The process by which it takes the food is called as endocytosis. You can also say receptor mediated endocytosis. So this is the word that you could have also seen in 9th standard. How, by the help of the plasma membrane, how this food is being taken inside. So this is how the amoeba is taking the food. This is the mode of nutrition that we see in the case of amoeba, how they take the food. So the process is called receptor mediated endocytosis. Now we will try to see how the process occurs, mode of nutrition that occurs in a human being. That's what in us, right? So in this, what are the various parts that is involved in the digestive system? So you have to see the alimentary canal, right? So in the alimentary canal, what are the parts that is involved in the process? So first, in the case of the human digestive system, the case of human being, the first part is said with the mouth. So the mouth, two things are involved. One is the teeth, another is the tongue. Fine. Next, after that, the food enters into the esophagus. It enters into the esophagus. It's a long, it's called food pipe. And from there, it enters into the stomach. Right? In the stomach, after the stomach, it passes into the small intestine. So, in the small intestine, the first part of the small intestine is called as the duodenum. Right? So, in the duodenum, two things, there's a duct, the opening that happens from the stomach, inside in the duodenum. Two ducts will also enter into the duodenum. One is from the pancreas. Another is said to be the liver. So they enter here. Pancreas, the juice is poured here. The liver, from the liver, it is the bile juice. It is the bile juice. Okay. Then the final digestions. It occurs in ileum. I-L-E-U-M. This is, so these both are the parts of small intestine. So let me mention here. The both are the parts of small intestine. They both are the parts of the small intestine. Then after this, next is that the process is they pass into the large intestines. So the large, they enter into the large intestine. In the large intestine, there are three parts in which the food passes. That is cecum, colon, and then rectum. And finally, it ejects out through anus. So these are the various parts that we see in the human alimentary canal. This is mouth. There are two things are involved in that in the mouth. That's the teeth and the tongue, and the esophagus, and the stomach, and then the food passes into the duodenum. Here, the juices comes from pancreas as well as from the liver. They pass into the duodenum through the common ducts that passes from here and here. There's a ducts which pour into the duodenum, right? From the duodenum, they enter into ileum. So these two parts are that of small intestines. And then the undigested food particles or food substances, they passes through the large intestines. The large intestine, there are three parts of the cecum, colon, and rectum. Finally, the food is ejected through the anus. Okay. Now, so now you can see that in the human digestive system, you can see that this is the mouth region. You can see here, the food is, we are taking the food inside, right? So in the food, what happens? The food which we have taken inside, due to the role of teeth and the tongue, the process occurs here. So we try to chew the food. The process is called as mastication. Please note down all these terms which I am telling to you. So in the mouth, we try to chew the food by the role of in the tongue, and the teeth just crushes the food. That process is called as mastication. And the tongue secretes the juice. That's called as salivary amylase. Right? It contains the enzyme called salivary amylase. This salivary amylase will act here. Right? Then the partially digested food now passes through the food pipe here. You can see the food pipe here. Through the food pipe, the food is passing here. So when it passes here, actually parallel to this pharynx, you can see another one part that's called larynx. Right? So larynx actually enters into the windpipe. That is where we try to do all the breathing processes, right? The gases we try to pass through this. So it is very parallel to this. You can able to see that. So whenever you take the food here, there is one cartilaginous flap-like structures that partially closes that larynx, right? During larynx, no, the breathing is controlled here whenever we take the food in, right? So that part is called as epiglottis. Okay, so epiglottis is the flap-like structure which partially covers this larynx during the time of swallowing. So the food then enters into the food pipe. You can see the food pipe, that's called as esophagus. Now the food that has entered into the esophagus is called as bolus. Okay, are you knowing that? It's called as bolus, B-O-L-U-S, right? So the food has passes through this. How the food passes? Due to the action of the muscles, that is called peristaltic movement. And then it enters into the stomach region. Into the stomach region, there HCl, that means an acid is been secreted here due to the cells, and that acid actually triggers another enzyme which is called as pepsin, and pepsin will act on the other part of the component of the food, especially protein. And the mucus actually protects the inner lining of the stomach against the action of the HCl. Now as friends, you can see that here the food again from here it passes through this. So you can see the right side is the duodenum here. See the duodenum is here, and here where the ducts open into that. See, one is from the pancreas, as I mentioned in that earlier. It passes from the pancreatic juice passes into this, and from liver the bile juice is also passes into that. So here the digestion occurs, right? And the process of digestion occurs in this duodenum. Now the food that has come from the stomach is called as chyme. Okay, it is called as chyme, C-H-Y-M-E, the chyme. That is the thing that has come over here. Now from this the food again enters and then passes into the small intestine. Actually friends, the small intestine is the largest part on the alimentary canal, right? So it passes here, and there is a part I said ileum. So ileum, here the final digestion will occur. After the final digestion occurs here, there the process called as absorption occurs. How does the absorption occurs? In the ileum, there are some finger-like projections, right? There are some finger-like projections. So this part actually we will try to deal here, right? See here friends, you can see that here the small intestine is present here. This is where the ileum is there, and ileum they have a lot of finger-like projections, right? That is called the villi, right? So the villi actually through which the absorption of the food occurs, final digested matter occurs, and then that mixes in the blood. That process is called as assimilation. And what of the undigested matter? That is actually that passes into the large intestine. So this is the large intestine, my dear friends, here. So this is the cecum I told you. This is the colon. You can see the whole part is called as the colon here. And here what happens? The absorption of water occurs. So when the absorption of water occurs in that waste matter, it becomes very solid. So that's why the word is called fecal matter, right? Now the fecal matter passes through this and they reaches the rectum, and finally it is ejected out of our body through the anus. Is it clear, friends? So this is about the digestive systems. So dear children, so it is what we have seen in today's class, the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. One we have seen in the case of amoeba, and others we have seen in the human being, right? So in the amoeba, the process by which the food is acquired, right, from the external source, it is by means of receptor mediated endocytosis process. But in the case of human system, it's quite different. In our body, the system is different. These are the various parts, the organs are involved in this digestive processes. Is it clear, children? And one more thing, what I would like to tell you is, the liver, as you know that, the bile juice. The bile juice which it secretes here, they actually acts on the fats. The fats are usually cannot be absorbed very easily. You know that. So the bile juice acts on the fats and they break down into small globules. They break down into small globules. Okay. They break down into the small globules. And this process is what? The action of the bile juice on the fats. This process is called as emulsification. It's a very important one. This is what is called emulsification of fats. Is it clear, friends? So this is what happens due to the liver. Okay. So this is the various processes that occurs in the human systems. Okay, friends. I hope you understood here. In the next class, we will go for the next processes called as respiratory system. Okay, friends. Thank you.